Welcome to Solve It Like a Marketer. I'm Stephen Hobie. Today I'll be exploring Porter's 5 forces analysis. How does this apply to my marketing? If you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified of new episodes every week. Don't go away. Now, I wanted to make a video about Porter's 5 forces. Let's look at who was the man that created them. How do you use them in your marketing efforts? And most importantly, are they still relevant today? So let's start with a brief overview of Michael Porter. He was actually nicknamed the godfather of strategy. Now, Michael Porter is seen as, he's been termed as the guru's guru, the world's best management thinker, and as I say, termed the godfather of strategy. Now, he attended Harvard, where he took classes in industrial organization economics. Now, this studies how competitive forces affect industries and their profitability. It then inspired his 5 forces analysis framework, which he created in 1979. Now, he's said to be the most cited author in business and economics. He was one of the founders of the consulting firm The Monitor Group, which is now part of Deloitte, and FSG, a social impact consultancy. He wrote The Competitive Advantage of Nations in 1990, and this book is based on studies of 10 nations and argues that a key to national wealth and advantage was the productivity of firms and workers collectively, and that the national and regional environmental supports that productivity. He's devoted considerable attention to the pressing problems in healthcare delivery in the United States and other countries. His book, Redefining Healthcare, develops a new strategic framework for transforming the value delivered by the healthcare system. Competitiveness has always been at the heart of Porter's thinking. All of his best-selling books really have focused on this theme and his definition of strategy, the creation of a unique and valuable position involving a different set of activities. It was really based on competitive difference or advantage. Now, Porter's 5 forces is a model that identifies and analyzes 5 competitive forces, and that shape every industry and helps to determine an industry's weakness and strengths. It's a little different than the SWOT analysis, but I'll get to that later. For now, know that Porter's model can be applied to any segment of the economy to understand the level of competition within that industry and enhance a company's long-term profitability. So what are the 5 forces? Rivalry among existing competitors, the threat of new entrants, bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of customers, and the threat of substitutes. So let's now run through those. So first, I mentioned rivalry among existing competitors. So this refers to the number of competitors and their ability to undercut a company or organization. The larger the number of competitors, along with the number of equivalent products and services they offer, the lesser the power of the company. Makes sense, right? So suppliers and buyers seek out a company's competition if they're able to offer a better deal or lower prices. If we look at the flip side, conversely, when competitive rivalry is low, a company has greater power to charge higher prices. Next, threat of new entrants. So a company's power is also affected by the force of new entrants or competitors into the marketplace. So the less time and money it costs for a competitor to enter a company's market, the more an established company's position could be potentially weakened. Bargaining power of suppliers. This refers to how easily suppliers can actually drive up costs. The fewer suppliers in an industry, the more a company would depend on a certain number of suppliers. As a result, the supplier has more bargaining power. On the other hand, when there are many suppliers, a company can actually keep costs lower. Bargaining power of customers. So customers, of course, they have the power to drive prices lower or higher. So pricing is affected by how many buyers or customers a company has and how much it would cost a company to find new customers or markets. So a smaller and more powerful client base means that each customer has more power to negotiate for lower prices and better deals. On the other hand, a company that has many customers will have an easier time charging higher prices. And finally, threat of substitutes. So substitute goods or services that can be used in place of a company's pose a threat. Companies that produce a good or service for which there are no close substitutes will have more power to increase prices. When close substitutes are available, customers will have the option to choose the better deal. So is Porter's 5 forces model still relevant? Well, I would say absolutely. 40 years later, it's still a really useful tool for understanding how a company is positioned competitively. Having said this, the 5 forces model does have a few drawbacks, including that it tends to be backward-looking. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's mostly relevant only in the short term. Another drawback is the tendency to try and use this model to analyze an individual company versus a broad industry, which is how the framework was intended. So the framework is also structured so that each company is placed in one particular industry. Whereas the case may be a company straddles several at a time. Now, I'll admit that my go-to still remains the good old SWOT analysis. This allows you to delve more deeply into an organization to analyze both internal and external forces at play. But what do you think? Have you used Porter's 5 forces? Or maybe SWOT is your thing? Please leave me your thoughts in the comments section below. If you'd like to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button and please share so that others can also enjoy my videos. You can also buy me a coffee for those long nights researching and writing these episodes. You can catch me on Instagram and Facebook for extra content, and you never miss an episode as it comes up each week. Or please connect with me on LinkedIn. All of those links are below. I will see you weekly with a new video, so please stay tuned and together, let's solve it like a marketer.